The other dimension to that energy landscape is as the LNG projects in Queensland come on stream, and those in Western Australia, but particularly the ones in Queensland come on stream, including yours, increasingly gas will be priced on an export parity basis. You've been saying recently that, in fact, coal will also shift quite rapidly towards export parity pricing, which is another sort of structural shift in the pricing of energy in Australia. Yeah.
So I'll give you a view how it plays out, and you can agree or disagree with the view. So if we go back to the earlier diagnosis, for reasons largely of RET policy, we don't need any base load before 2020, broadly, maybe 2019, 2020. So we're not going to use gas or coal because we just don't need to build the power stations, right? The role of gas is open cycle to firm the interruptibility that comes with the renewable. It doesn't matter really what the gas price is, because if you look, for example, at our own, say, half-year results, you'll see that those open cycle power stations run maybe 2% of the time or 3% of the time, and they don't use much gas. And in the case, for example, of Mount Stewart, which operates in the same, that's in Queensland, in Townsville, we run that on aviation fuel, very expensive. But it just doesn't matter, because when the market's at peak, power prices of $1,000 or $2,000 or $12,000.
Aviation fuel.
Yeah. So the important thing to understand is that when you're firming that supply, the fuel cost really doesn't matter that much because of the way the market works and the fact that the price spikes. The question then becomes, where is the next big source of energy in Australia beyond 2020? That's the big question. Is it going to be coal? Is it going to be gas? I can say to you at current carbon prices that it's more likely to be coal in the absence of any change, because the $23 does not fundamentally change the relative competitiveness of coal versus gas as a fuel. So on current settings, coal will still play a major role in power generation in Australia for the long term.
In fact, would you say that the next baseload power station, perhaps post 2020, will be coal?
So the one game changer, and the reason I say no, is that if we did sit back and say we want the best of both worlds, we want still to have competitive advantage around our energy, but we want less carbon intensive energy. And you'd expect me to say this in this conversation, but the project we're working on, which is a long-term project, the best resource in our view, next resource available in Australia, is hydro in New Guinea, baseload hydro. And technology is moving in a way, if you look around the world, you're seeing some of these more competitive renewable energy resources now being moved, because you can't move the fuel. You can move coal and you can move gas. You can't move wind and you can't move hydro. So you've got to build transmission, and the cost of transmission is changing dramatically with this HVDC technology. So you're seeing in Brazil and Russia and North America now very long transmission lines being built to connect very cost competitive renewable resources. And the vision we have, and Bob perhaps goes back in part to your question, my view is North Queensland, that New Guinea, North Queensland area, has an extraordinary opportunity post 2020 to be one of the most competitive energy intensive manufacturing zones in the world off relatively cheap baseload hydro. And it's an extraordinary opportunity if that was to be developed. So that's a sort of 2020 plus view.
What a fantastic vision on which to end it, Grant.
So we can keep our manufacturing and we can keep our aluminium.
In North Queensland?
But it will need to move, yeah.
Fascinating. Thanks very much.
Thank you.